an educational stream. I think there will be quite interesting information. Let's wait for several moments. And we are getting started. I will be really glad if you ask some questions. It's extremely important to understand. The topic is quite important for trading not as a crowd, but like a professional trader. Okay, let's discuss today extremely interesting topic that will help you to think and navigate in a market, not as the crowd, but as professionals, the seekers of the huge capitals to trade along. I quite often talk about trading along with huge capital because uh, in most cases, huge capital is right. This is the only participant that is right in most cases, as it could manipulate the crowd, pushing the price whatever it wants to push it. Just a moment. So in this sense, we should really have clear picture of one of the main tools of huge players that unmask them. It's a liquidity grab. We unmask huge players by their liquidity grabs. They have very few instruments to manipulate the crowd, and if you know all these instruments, and if you have enough knowledge, enough skills to distinguish these tools, you will be much more efficient, you will be much more successful than any other traders who just have come to the market, and you will be able to trade profitably. So I think many of you already know how it looks like. What is the liquidity grab? It's a fake breakout to the opposite side of the generally expected movement. Let's draw it. For example, we have quite clear diapason, quite clear consolidation, where the price hanging around like this, and we are expecting the breakout somewhere, and here we have such a fake breakout, and then the price rolls back. Here we have quite high volumes on this stage, usually enormous ones, very big volumes, and then price goes back like nothing has happened, trading again inside this range, maybe some other liquidity grabs here, of course accompanied with high volumes, and then we are continuing to trade inside. Finally, the breakout occurs here. Why it's happening? Maybe some of you can tell in the comments if you are looking this stream where we have such liquidity grabs and how we can use these liquidity grabs to our advantage. As you see, model is quite simple, really simple, but it could be still even such a situation when we have, for example, something like this. We have one touch level, second touch level, a third touch level, and many people here already entered the long trade and expecting the breakout, but it's too soon. We have such a movement, and many people who place stop losses here, they were closed by stop loss hit, and the only participant who is the happiest is the huge player. Huge player provoked this movement by placing huge limit orders here, by selling huge part by the markets, just to make this movement. The sharp downfall just before long breakout, just to haunt stop losses of those who expected this long movement. You should understand that thanks to the liquidity grab, a huge player haunts the stop losses of players. Their stop losses are the a kind of fuel for a huge player. The liquidity that used by a huge player to load position. Huge one usually has a really big position, really big capital, and he hardly can load it quickly. That's why he manipulates the crowd to sharply provoke this movement, with the aim of loading at better prices, just to win some time, just to load even more before the truth breakout, before the truth movement. We draw a model. Now we know how it looks like in a model, and it's quite simple. But the most important question: how to detect liquidity grab, how to distinguish the liquidity grab from just an ordinary movement caused by supply and demand inequality, and the answer is both. Liquidity grab is always accompanied by huge, enormous volumes because it's the artificial situation, it's an artificial trap. That's why the aim for this trap is just to execute the mass of stop losses, and this mass execution results in higher than average volumes. Let's find some practical examples. It will be useful. For example, we have a quite clear range, 5-minute time frame, Ethereum USD, and here we have kind of liquidity graph with here we expect the breakout. However, the breakout didn't occur, and instead we just fallen down, just grabbing this all the stop losses of people, of participants who really expected to gain, to become rich from this movement. Not now, guys, a huge player said, and organized this trap. this trap by, for example, by selling huge amounts of coins, especially it's extremely easy for him when the instrument is not so active. He really can, he has more chances to manipulate the price, and it's quite easy for him to create this attempt, this initial movement, and the hamsters, the crowd joins this movement. They started to sell. They started to sell even in panic. They started to turn into the short and creating this movement. During this movement, a huge player grabbed the liquidity, especially from here. Then he's finally ready to break the structure, and we have such a thing. It's a model. It's just a model. We actually don't know this situation, and maybe this example is not the best one. Let's try to watch another examples. Here we have another one, but it looks almost the same. I really believe, in fact, this is not the liquidity grab, because the character of movement is so aggressive that it looks more like following the BTC downtrend. When the BTC sharply just go down and all the altcoins following him. But I'm just creating, providing just an example. Here it looks really more realistic as a liquidity grabs. For example, what we are having here, we have a quite clear range, and many people believe that they can trade inside this range. They are trying to long from support level. They are expecting the price to pull back from this support level. They are trying to long from this. They are opening long positions from horizontal lines, placing stop losses below this level. Then what's happening? We grab these stop losses. We grab these stop losses to let the huge player load his huge position. Then we roll back. Then we get back again into the into this range. We are trading here. The huge player continues to load his position. He's loading, and other players come. Many participants, many scalpers, many even institutional players. They have the same mentality, they have the same rules. They were taught that support levels are quite a confident zone from where we can open the position. And again, what we have here, people and participants just long from these points. From here, placing the stop losses below. Let's draw it. There are their entry points of hamsters, of the crowds, entry points with the stop losses below. That was the first, the second liquidity graph. It could be even more. It could be up to 5 before the huge player understands that's enough. I'm ready. I'm full of fuel, and I'm ready to skyrocket the price to the moon. What we have next? We have the uptrend movement. From there, the retest, small consolidation, and continuation of the movement. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is that we can use it to our advantage if we manage these liquidity graphs. We can trade with huge player. We can understand that there is a huge player who is loading to long position, and vice versa. If we are loading to like this, here we will have some liquidity graphs break support level. I think it's clear. Thanks to this skill, we can trade more profitably. We can use, especially when we are skilled enough to read the order book. If you are able to unmask his actions in order book, it would be even better. In the order book, it usually looks like always refreshing the limit orders that is being usually pushed as iceberg limit orders in the spread, trying automatically trying to load. It is usually renewed every hour or every half an hour. This is a sign, this is a path of a huge player who is trying to load position with small volumes, because if the huge player plays really good, really big limit order or of the size of his full volume, the price will probably react and pull from this limit order. That's why he has to be silent, to be accurate, and only few people, only few participants can detect him and trade along his huge capital. We shouldn't enter in these places. We should enter already after several liquidity grabs done, and when we have somewhere here, for example, when we have a clear picture that the huge player is already is ready to put the price towards the well-known direction. I mean, to long in this case. So I think that was interesting. Please don't forget to ask your question. This stream will be saved, will be available on our channel. Thank you. Use it to your advantage. See you soon.